Hey there, this is Amish. It's been a couple of weeks. I think the last video I mentioned that I had formed a push group for this season. There's been a lot of shifting around in terms of roles and what people are playing and things like that. And so I haven't been making a lot of videos because I have actually swapped to Mistweaver. It seems like I'm going to be playing Mistweaver this M plus season, which is, I think it's fine. I mean, Mistweaver is very strong. I think Disc is very, very strong as well. They're just strong in different ways, right? So that's kind of where we're at. I am going to start making some Mistweaver videos, at least for now. I feel a little bit like a fish out of water because, I've been so immersed with Disc for a very long time. So, yeah, I've played Mistweaver on and off, but never like seriously or with a lot of intention. And so I'm looking forward to making the next couple of videos for Mistweaver just to get a better sense of where I can improve, things that identify things that I'm doing very wrong, and yeah, go from there. We have pretty much landed, I think, on what we're going to move forward with. We're still sort of figuring out how to play as a team. We also don't have Lust, which I think some people would say is a non-negotiable, but I won't lie, I haven't really noticed it too much. I think it might be overrated, but that's my hot take. So to the video, we're gonna take a look at a 25 Everbloom that was untimed. The reason why we're looking at the untimed video is because this is one of the only ones that I remember to record, and I think that there were a lot of things to pinpoint and to improve upon in terms of my gameplay and team gameplay. So I think that this is going to be a really interesting look at how this went. There are also, in my opinion, two of the harder bosses to heal this M plus rotation in this dungeon. So wanted to take a look at that. So in terms of score and sort of my history with Mistweaver so far, you can see I haven't really done a lot of pushing on this character. I have not done a Black Rook hold on Tyran at all. Otherwise, my next lowest is a 14, and then my highest is a 24. So there's a really big range. I really haven't done a whole lot yet with Mistweaver. This is what my gear and stats are looking like. This is what I ran for this dungeon as well. In doing some log analysis, I think it would make sense to either run Blossom or Smoldering Seedling, but maybe not both. And I think it shows up in the video, but I really didn't use I think I used Seedling like once or twice the entire dungeon. And so that tells me that I could swap that out. For example, I think I have a C star. So I could have swapped out my C star for Seedling, kept Blossom of Emirdrasil. C star would, give that extra, is it intellect? Yeah, the extra intellect bump. So that's something to consider going forward. My gear is not perfect by any means. Again, this is not a character that I have really intensely done content on until very recently. I swapped to Mistweaver in raid as well. So this is sort of my project, is getting things up to speed. It's not awful, but anyway. All right, and then in terms of talents, this is what I ran for this dungeon. I think that there's a lot of room for improvement here. I've seen people basically not take these 3 here, I believe. I think I'm remembering this correctly. I think I've seen people not take these 3 talent points and put 2 points into Resonant Fists and then 2 points into Fatal Touch, I think is what I've seen previously. I know that there are other people who run one of these 2 statues. It's pretty obvious. I haven't done a lot of research on how to play Mistweaver in M+, but I know that there are some interesting things that you can do with the statues and how those interact with mobs and things like that. So this is what I ran with. And in terms of my focus for this dungeon in particular, I was really interested in making sure that my Zen Pulse was basically used on cooldown. Overall, one thing that I find that I struggle with is damage. I haven't really figured out where things are going wrong, except for the fact that I'm not in melee 100% of the time. And obviously that's a really big red flag. Like, as a melee healer, I need to be in melee. But I was also noticing in previous keys that I just wasn't casting Zen Pulse like ever. And that's a really big opportunity to deal some AoE damage, do some healing. So that was my intention going into this key. I think that's it for talents. I think I've seen other people take energizing brew instead of life cycles. Yeah, I don't know. I'll give that a try. All right, in terms of the damage and healing breakdown, here is what this looked like. And after looking at a couple of logs for same key level, similar trinkets, things like that, basically what's going on is my blackout kicks should be much, much higher. Everything should actually be much higher. This says that I did about 53k DPS overall. There are some people that were doing like over 100k. So there is so much headroom and so much room for improvement here, which is great. That means I have a lot of homework I can do and a lot I can work on, but it also means that there's some serious things that I screwed up in this key. A lot of them actually just being the number of casts that I have. So this, for example, I cast this Rising Sun Kick 158 times. Let me just pull up the log that I was looking at really quick. Yeah, for a 25 Everbloom, basically similar gear, similar everything. This person cast Rising Sun Kick 202 times. So that's, just under 50 casts missed. I cast Spinning Crane Kick a little bit more frequently than this person. But my blackout kicks, really this is the big chunk of where things should change. So I cast blackout kick 142 times. This person cast it 232 times. So that is absolutely massive. It's not because I was casting Tiger Palm more. I actually was casting Tiger Palm less frequently than this other person. So I cast Tiger Palm 218 times. This person cast it 309. So I think it's a combination of not being in melee as much as I think I am. For Zen Pulse, I think I actually did a pretty solid job with casting Zen Pulse. Did about just over 9 million damage, which isn't too bad. Yeah, that and Extinction Blast from my weapon. I think that these should be at about the same total of damage based on other logs that I've taken a look at. So yeah, Expel Harm, also very good. If you don't know, Expel Harm does a little bit of damage when you use it for the mobs around you. Yeah. I think this melee number, let me take a look. Yeah, this melee number could be higher. And this is what's telling me that I should just be in, that I am not in melee when I think that I am. So yeah, I think that does it though, in terms of damage. But ultimately, we'll also see this in the key. There was a period of time that I'm probably going to skip through or fast forward a little bit, where there was a lot of running back from being chain killed by the Arcano Blaster Mage Wizard. And so I think that would also contribute to this lower damage throughput as well. In terms of healing, this also... So Ancient Teachings, from my understanding, is going to be typically the highest. It's going to be your highest situation here. Okay, so having the log side by side here, it clearly says that for me, Vivify is the highest on my healing breakdown, which is not good. In other logs, I've seen this lower. And so I wonder if I was just casting that too much here. And it shows someone who cast it 40 times throughout the dungeon. So, you know, casting it 4 times as much, maybe not so good. In that case, maybe it would make more sense to rely more on ancient teachings and just rely on that to do its work, instead of casting. I know that there are casting builds that you can play, but yeah, for the most part, I think maybe less Vivify. Blossom doing its job. Had a lot of throughput this dungeon. So did Shaylun's Gift. I take Yu'lon's Grace. I think that this is very debatable. I think people prefer... I think the standard is to take Diffuse Magic. And I think that you could make an argument that that would make a lot more sense in this dungeon in particular, because there is so much magic damage that goes out. I think I wasn't really thinking about it when I came in, and so yeah, I just take Yu'lon's Grace by default, even though I know that that's typically the raid pick. But yeah, so that's just an explanation for why I have that. It did quite a bit of work though. I think, yeah, I mean, you know, more than 12.5 million healing overall. That's not too bad. Chi Harmony, I think this is pretty standard. I think that there are ways to min-max it, but for the most part, especially in M+, in my experience anyway, you kind of just do your normal stuff and it'll kind of be an extra, you know, bump of healing. But, you know, it's not going to necessarily be like life-changing. Zen Pulse did some good healing as well. And we'll see here, yeah. So for Seedling's Cure, this is the Smoldering Seedling Trinket. So yeah, I think that this equates to me only having used it once. Maybe twice. Actually, yeah, I think it could be twice, but anyway. Only 1 or 2 times for the entire dungeon, which is really not great. But I think that there just weren't a lot of opportunities to use it, really. Well, actually, I take that back. I think there were opportunities to use it where I didn't use it. But anyway, going forward, I think I will not be taking this in certain dungeons. I think that you could make the case to take it in others, but for this one, yeah, I'm not sure that it makes sense. Life Cocoon, I think this is probably fine. So you'll notice we're running with 2 plate DPS and a boomkin. So basically, my Life Cocoon should be almost exclusively reserved for the boomkin. They are so squishy. I feel so bad for them. It's crazy. There were a couple times that I did not put Life Cocoon on the boomkin at the right time, and he died. So that's something that I need to be mindful of going into certain fights, especially on Tyran weeks. So I'll just need to be mindful of when and how I'm using Life Cocoon on our boomkin. Okay, that was a lot. I think that does it though. So yeah, let's clip over to the key and see how that went. All right, so off the starting line, we're going to attempt to pull this dungeon somewhat normally. I get my Mystic Touch out as soon as possible. Put my Jade Fire Stomp out, throw out a Chi-Chi. Looks like I put my Zen Pulse on cooldown. Sweep. Love having a Poison Dispel. Not something that I have the luxury of having as a Disc Priest. Makes a big difference here, especially on Fort Weeks. We'll go into these Dread Petals. Normally this part of the dungeon is pretty gnarly for tanks because of the big sort of I guess it's a slow, I'm not really sure what it is, but it's sort of like a movement. It's something you can get off with a Freedom or Tiger's Lust. So I'm keeping an eye on the tank. With that, put a Chi Cocoon on our Druid because I didn't have a poison dispel up. Dispel the Druid. So yeah, I'm seeing that I'm doing a lot of moving out of melee. So going back to the beginning of this video, talking about not really being sure why I'm, you know, I don't have as, I'm not casting as much. It's because I'm just not there. I'm running out to, you know, paralyze the Incorpse or something like that. I think I could have used Ring of Peace earlier in this dungeon as well. There were a couple times that mobs were just hanging out in blood, so good to be more proactive about that use. I accidentally pushed my defensive there, that's unfortunate. And here we unfortunately pull Gnarl Root. I wasn't sure if he was just gonna... Yeah, I wasn't sure how we were gonna handle that, so didn't react as quickly as I could have. But put a Chi Cocoon on him. Regardless. My Zen Pulse has been up for a while. Gnarl Root is in blood. Okay, I use the Zen Pulse. We lost the Paladin. Yeah, Gnarl Root is pretty nasty. Very good on percent, efficiency-wise, but not very efficient if you can't get out of roots and things quickly. I'm using Tiger's Lust on cooldown to get out of the roots for myself, just so that I stay alive. Use a Zen Pulse on the tank, it looks like. Making sure to put a Enveloping Mist on him before I Zen Pulse so that I can get the Echoing Reverberation. Not as effective with just one mob, but it's better than nothing, I think. Better than to just hold on to it. Tiger's List myself out. Spinning Crane Kick, since there are 4 targets. Although, now that I think about it, I think it's at least 5 targets where you're supposed to Spinning Crane Kick, and anything under 4, you just do your normal Rising Sun Kick, Blackout Kick. Alright, so we kill Gnarl Root. Had 1 death along the way.
No, he will awaken.
Drinking some mana tea. Yeah, I'm not in melee at all for this. Okay, now I come in. We have 5 targets, so I'm spinning Crane Kicking. But it looks like I wove in a Rising Sun Kick. Ring of Peace. Hanging out in the blood there. Kind of hard to see with all the foliage. I have my potion up, but I think that I hang on to it for the boss. It's kind of tough to justify using a potion when we just have 3 mobs at a time. Watching this back, I'm not sure why we only pulled those 3 mobs. I think we probably could have done these 3 as well. See if I use my Zen Pulse. It's been up for a little bit. Yep, there you go. Made sure to get Echoing Reverberation as well. I think I can get rid of the sonar. The sonar is to indicate that I have 4 stacks of Blackout Kick, but I don't think that that has actually been informing what I'm doing with my rotation, so can lob that. And then we leave the Incorpse because we kill everything. So no need to para. I do not use my potion on pull because there is a damage amp phase. I typically use my Thunder Focus Tea just before Rising Sun Kick to reduce that cooldown. In theory, I could use it on Renewing Mist to boost my haste. Or Expel Harm to increase my versatility if there's going to be a big, damage burst coming. But I haven't really been thinking about it. I usually just do it sort of passively. Obviously not super consistent though. There was one cycle there where I had it and I didn't Thunder Focus Tea before Rising Sun kicking. Alright, so we're in the damage amp phase. I use my potion. Make sure to put a Zen Pulse out. Although I don't know if I was close enough to all of the mobs to get full effectiveness on that. Witherbark doesn't do the frontal on this phase, so I think theoretically I could go a little bit more in the center if I were to do that next time. Because yeah, I don't think I'm hitting, I'm definitely not hitting any of those ads over there from where I'm standing, so can just adjust that positioning next time. I've been sitting on 2 charges of Renewing Mist for quite some time. This isn't really a healing intensive boss fight, but it is nice just in case, I don't know, the roots run over you or you step in a water puddle or something and need to be healed up fast. It's nice to have the Vivify Cleave. So yeah, okay. Use my weapon. I like Witherbark because it's basically a training dummy. I feel so bad for our boomkin. Ooh! It's kind of a delayed reaction, Chi-Cocoon. Just looking at the damage. Trying to think of how I could have done better. I don't know if I Expel Harmed. I could do that. And stand closer to the mobs. Yeah, actually, there was a lot I could do. I could have done better. Noxious Eruption, especially on Fort Weeks, is pretty gnarly, so just make sure you have something up for that. Looks like I revivalled. Ooh, I revivalled and Shaylin's Gifted. That's probably not the play. Ooh, and Chi-G'd. That is definitely not the... Well, actually, the timing I think will work out with the renewing, or with the enveloping mists out. Maybe it's fine. This would be a great opportunity to put a Zen Pulse on the... Oof. Yeah. If the druid was healed up, I think he would have lived that. So that's unfortunate. This would be a really good time to use a Smoldering Seedling after the Noxious Eruptions. Like I mentioned, I don't think I'm going to be running it consistently, but if it is the case that I do, that would be a good time to use it, especially after burning through all 3 of my cooldowns. It's really unfortunate. I think our thought was we were going to skip those mobs. We wanted to do some funky stuff in this area, I think. We wanted to skip these mobs. We wanted to skip the mobs right up by the second boss, the trio. Yeah, I notice I'm just doing a lot of casting and not a lot of kicking. Yeah, I don't know if that was the best Shayloon's gift. I think the stacks were a little high though, so maybe it was fine. And a parting Noxious Eruption for the road. Very nice. Oh, I think this kill, yeah, that's unfortunate. Take the time to get some mana back while I can. And we're going. Lots of mobs, so I am spinning, crane, kicking. Potion is up. I think I'm saving it for the boss again. But with Fortified, I don't know, Dread Petals are not super threatening, so... But who knows, maybe it would have made more sense to use a potion. So we're trying to skip. Yeah, we did not skip, I pulled. Tried to Shadow Meld, but that never works. I don't know why I do it. So I was spinning crane kicking there. I should not have been with 2 mobs. Let's see if I put a Zen Pulse out. Put it on the warrior. The druid was pretty close in, so I think it would have made sense to put it on him. We have an Incorp out. Let's see if I see it, though. Oh, they were coming out. There we go. My weak aura has been a little buggy recently. Okay, yeah, I'm totally out of melee for all of this. I'm just casting. Then we, in theory, wanted to skip this Twisted Abomination right here. I don't think we do. Yeah, we pull it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm in melee. Okay, I definitely am there. That would be a great opportunity for a Chi Cocoon on the druid after the Noxious Eruptions. There's one more. We skip it. Get some mana back. Usually I'm comfortable going into a boss fight at 50% mana and using my mana tea stacks to top myself up. Looks like okay, there's my potion. Alright, this is where I screw up. I do not move out of melee for this part, and yeah, I leave a bunch of junk there, so that's my mistake. I'm still getting used to being in melee. Feels very foreign to me. Yeah, this fight was tough for our druid, getting targeted quite a bit. Got him back up. I really should be... yeah, I should have been hard swapping to just healing the druid. Or interrupting. I don't think I've interrupted at all this fight. What the heck? Okay, so that's an area for improvement. Yeah, I haven't interrupted at all. I guess I'm also getting used to having an interrupt. The priest life. The disc priest life. You don't get one of those. Oh, there's one interrupt. I don't think it was worth it. But there's one at least. Yeah, gnarly. I think that might have been a cheat. Yeah, poor Boomkins, man. I feel so bad for him. Zen Pulse is up. Let's see if I use it. Tiger's Lust to get back in. Good to be right in melee. Not using Zen Pulse yet. Okay, I've been running out to Para, the Incorp. I think that Para has like a very long range. I'll need to double check that. Looks like I Zen Pulsed the last bit there. We are coming up on a comedy of errors momentarily. Not quite there yet, but... Zen pulses up again. We're enveloping mist the tank and pop it onto him. Got 3 targets, so I'm doing my normal rising sun kick, blackout kick situation. We're skipping these assistants and the pyromancer. The pyromancer is very, very scary. We are doing these ones. These couple of assistants. Enveloping mist and Zen pulse on the tank. Because these hapless assistant punches can do some work. That's what I hear anyway. The health bars never look scary, but, you know. I hear from tanks that they're kind of a lot to deal with. Alright. Here we go. This is probably where I'm gonna skip forward on the video a little bit. So, with only one ranged, We have only one ranged in our group, and the Arcanomancer sends out the Arcane Blast Orb thing pretty much almost instantly after like 2 or 3 seconds of pulling. So now I'm running out for Spatial Disruption. But if everyone is stacked as a group here, yeah, the Spatial Disruption is just going to kill you. So you'll see the Spatial Disruption is coming out in 6 seconds. I completely forgot to run out, and it's just going to kill us. Yeah. All right. So this is going to happen a couple more times, so I'm actually just going to skip forward in the video, and one sec. Okay, we are back. Yeah, that last couple minutes resulted in a couple deaths, which ultimately cost us the key. Yeah, losing a couple minutes just to deaths and run back, so unfortunate. But hey, you live, you learn. We continue on. We res the warrior. We finish off the assistants. I'm holding my potion again for the boss. And then lots of spinning crane kicks, because there are lots of assistants. Developing Miss the Tank and Zen Pulse. So off the bat, Cinderbolt Storm. This is going to be a ton of damage. So I roll out and actually get out of range of the druid, which leads in his untimely demise.
5, 4.
This is the hardest part of this fight, is just range, I find.
Get away!
5, 4, 3.
Next is Cinderbolt Storm and Spatial Compression, so it's going to be a ton of AoE, and then a pull in. I try to roll out, I haven't done this a whole lot, but in the times that I have done it, I try to roll out and yeah, just distance myself from the pull in as much as possible. It's really the Cinderbolt situation that is super scary.
Take you too.
So I have Chi Cocoon, or Life Cocoon.
5,
We lost our paladin.
2, 1.
Get away! Get away!
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Cinderbolt Storm again.
The contagion.
I think... Okay, so I put the Life Cocoon on the druid there. I think this also would be a good opportunity to use the Smoldering Seedling
Will make them wither.
for the Cinderbolt Storm portion specifically. The Faraway Incorp.
5, 4,
I don't know if that Shayloons was necessary.
1.
Get away! Get away!
I don't know if that manatee was necessary. Yeah, I'm just not in melee at all. Yeah. This boss is tough. This boss is tough. I think the biggest area for improvement, though, is just making sure that I stay in range of everyone and use my cooldowns. I think I am struggling with knowing how to deal with big AoE damage, since I'm so used to having DR with shields, with barrier. Not having that is really tough to know what to do and how to react to certain things like that.
2, 1.
So I think this is a really good spot to take a look at
5,
in terms of cocoon management.
2,
So this is a really great spot for cocoon, especially on the druid. There I enveloping misted and Zen pulsed myself to heal myself back up.
1.
Yeah, that would have been...
That doesn't look good.
It looks like the cocoon went out, but I don't know who it went out to. Maybe it went out as
5,
the druid died?
4,
I'm not
3,
sure.
2, 1.
So I have three
5,
major cooldowns and my trinket.
2,
So let's see what I use, if anything. Nothing. I think I might be saving it for the flourishing ancient.
4, 3,
This would be a great time for anything. Okay, there's a Shayloons.
It's reviving the little ones.
A little sketchy on my own health. Shayloons myself,
5,
even though there wasn't a lot of juice there.
2, 1.
My potion is up. My Zen Pulse is up. I have Chi-Chi
5,
up.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Probably saving Chi-Chi for the ad. Huh. Okay, well I pulled out my seedling at an inopportune
5,
time.
4, 3,
This would be a great time for Chi-Chi to
1.
heal things up. And yeah, he's dead. So yeah, I had Chi-Chi.
That doesn't look good.
Probably would have saved the druid.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Great Chi-Chi time.
Five, 4, 3,
I'm low on mana
2,
here, so drinking my
1.
mana tea. Try to recoup that as much as possible. I think I could have done a better job managing that.
The vines are overtaking everything.
So now I have my life
4,
cocoon back.
3,
I
2,
Zen Pulse myself.
1.
In theory, I would life cocoon myself,
That doesn't look good.
and I do. I think we decide to let these go
5,
off. Okay,
4,
maybe we don't.
3, 2, 1.
Spending a lot of time out of melee. That's not great. Use my weapon.
4, 3, 2, 1.
We are lost. It's pushing us back.
5, 4, 2, 1.
Okay, there's my second use of seedling. I would say that that was a very good use of seedling. I do still have Shayloons and I do still have Chi-Chi. I'm kind of surprised watching this back how little I used Chi-Chi.
5, 4, 3, 2.
In the moment I thought it was much more. Clearly it was not. Okay, yeah, this time we let all the flashers go.
5,
Drink some mana tea.
3, 2, 1.
Cocoon myself for the smash, and we finished the dungeon. So yeah, really the biggest thing, I mean, if you just live, if you just stay alive, you can generally time dungeons this season. And so the biggest reason why we didn't time this was because we didn't stay alive. We didn't stay alive, and while Gnarl Root is very efficient percent-wise, takes a lot of time. So yeah, and there were some other sort of efficiencies I think that we could make in terms of how we pull things that I will raise next time we do an Everbloom. I need to be casting Chi-Ji more. I need to not be out in Narnia just casting Vivifies. I need to be relying much more on ancient teachings. Yeah, the meters in game show that ancient teachings came out on top, but as we saw from the log, that was not the case. I used seedling twice in the entire dungeon, so again, going to swap that out for another trinket. So yeah, all in all, that was the dungeon, and we will carry on. We will continue with our Mistweaver journey. So, apologies if you came here specifically just for disc content. I'm now doing disc and Mistweaver, so stay tuned if you like it. And I'm sure there will be more disc content coming out, but yeah, for now it's going to be Mistweaver heavy while I figure out how to wrap my head around how to push keys with it. So, thanks, and see you next time.